Hey guys, welcome to this video. I'm Prajwal from Indie Crypto, and inside today's video I'm taking you through the annual report of RBI, which is the Reserve Bank of India, and they have raised some serious concerns about cryptocurrency in this particular report. So let's go through what are the concerns that I've raised, and let's see if we can address it and understand it better. So you would have to go to the page 48 of the report to see the RBI's standpoint on cryptocurrency, and I have highlighted a few points, few very important points I think is needs to be discussed in this particular report. And although most of them are negative points that have been mentioned by RBI, I've also mentioned a few positives that I could find from positive mindset. I have highlighted them in green, and I've also highlighted a few other points in few other colors, which I'll be discussing shortly. So the first thing or the first concern that's been raised by RBI is that the cryptocurrency does have monetary characteristics, but since it's not backed by any single authority, and since it's highly volatile with a limited supply, it's not a reliable medium of exchange or store of value. Now this might be a right concern from RBI's standpoint, because they have been used to controlling the monetary system of the country. So from the governance point of view, that might be a right concern that they are raising. But if you look from an individual point of view, or from his perspective, it's actually a good thing, because cryptocurrency is not backed by a single entity. There will be no single point of failure, or there will be no manipulation of the value from a single entity that we have seen in several cases where banks have gone ahead and manipulated a lot of things, and other entities also have manipulated a lot of things, which has affected the financial system in a very big way. So that is something that cannot be done with cryptocurrency. Now, speaking about the limited supply, it's actually a positive side, because if you see before, the monetary system or the currency circulation in a particular country was pegged to the amount of gold that was in that particular country, and after that they came out of the gold standards and they started printing money based on the necessity. So that has devalued a lot of currencies, and that has increased the inflation rate to whole new levels. Now if you look at some countries in Africa like Zimbabwe and other countries, where the currencies are highly devalued because the currency has not been limited, so they have been printing more and more currency, which has led to that particular devalued currency. And devalued currency is becoming a reality in all the countries, be it China, be it India, be it US. Everybody is facing it. Now having that limited supply of a cryptocurrency is actually a positive side, which actually goes ahead and solves this particular problem of devalued currency. And speaking of volatility, yes, cryptocurrencies are volatile at the moment because the market cap is not as big as the normal currencies. It's just 9 years old. It's still relatively very new technology and relatively very new monetary system, a parallel monetary system to the existing monetary system, which has taken ages to evolve. It's taken hundreds of years for the existing monetary system to be at the place that it is today. So the cryptocurrencies will take some time, yes. Then that requires a lot of evolution and developments that are happening. So it will definitely take some time for cryptocurrencies to get there. So I would say that is the counter answer for that particular point of concern that's been raised by RBI. The second concern that's been raised is that it's leading to price bubbles, and the RBI is not able to go ahead and protect the consumer or investor from the price bubbles that's been caused by the cryptocurrencies. Now, I already answered this because the market caps have not reached a stage and it's relatively new. Yes, it's highly volatile at the moment, but I'm sure once the market cap reaches uh, into billions, it will definitely, there will be less volatile and less price corrections. Even today, if you look at Indian rupees or US dollars, there's still price corrections, still they are also volatile, although you might see the rate at which they change is very small. That is because of their high market cap and their evolution from hundred of years. And the next point is there exists a high possibility of its usage to illicit activities and including tax avoidance. Now, I did read a recent report from the one of the authorities from United States, which said Bitcoin is no longer Bitcoin is no longer used as a main thing for any kind of illicit activities. So Bitcoin's use has moved on to a lot more things, be it remittance, be it cross-border payments, be it into e-commerce and a lot of other stuff, be it store of value, and its usability factor has increased. And you can see that since it's transparent, since it's accountable, since it's immutable, which cannot be hacked or manipulated, there are a lot of other advantages which actually, if used correctly, it can curb a lot of illicit activities. And also they're speaking about tax avoidance. See, because Bitcoin leaves a trail, because Bitcoin's blockchain, and I'll be speaking more about Bitcoin here, Bitcoin's blockchain is transparent. If profiled properly, people can definitely get into and notice who are these people who are doing such illicit activities, or who are these people who are avoiding tax. Now, if you compare that to cash, for example, cash is highly anonymous. If you there has been black money in India for God knows how long, and it's all been in cash. Never have any people used any online method to go ahead and create black money, because anything online, it leaves a trail which can be followed and which can be profiled, and the people who are doing these illicit activities can be caught. So I would say I would disagree from my standpoint and say that's actually a positive point, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies can actually help in reducing illicit activities and tax avoidance. They have also mentioned that the cryptocurrencies have become a combination of bubble and Ponzi scheme. Now, this could be true in few cases, because there are a lot of ICOs which have come up which don't have a definite product. They're just going ahead and raising funds, saying that they will develop the product, but there's no definite standpoint on that. Although we can say that not all cryptocurrencies are Ponzi schemes or a bubble. Like if you say, take an example of Bitcoin, which has stood the test of time for so long and showed how it's valuable in various sectors, even the blockchain, for example. So if you consider those important cryptocurrencies, then it's not a bubble or a Ponzi scheme. They are definite cryptocurrencies, and they do have a definite purpose. And the Financial Action Task Force has observed that crypto assets are being used for money laundering and terrorist financing. Now, this is something that I might not have much information about, but in terms of curbing the illegal use of cryptocurrencies, there has to be a strong KYC and AML policies that needs to be there. which was already there. If you look into the existing exchanges that were there in India, they were following a very strict KYC and AML policies, and that was actually doing good. But since now the Reserve Bank of India has stopped providing bank accounts to these exchanges, they have moved into peer-to-peer methods. Although all these exchanges who are doing peer-to-peer methods are still going ahead and following the KYCs and AMLs they were following earlier, and still the transactions are happening from bank to bank or through UPI methods, which can still be tracked. But because of this extreme step that RBI did take, a lot of people did move on to cash as well, which has also been mentioned by RBI in the report later, which I have mentioned here in red. So they have said that since the bank accounts have been corrupt now, they have monitored and the trading has shifted to peer-to-peer mode, and also increased the usage of cash. Now this was forced from RBI, right? So before, when people had bank accounts, they were going ahead and trading using those bank accounts. Everything was trackable, or exchanges were following a strict KYC and AML policy. Now since they have stopped that, only then the cash usage has increased, which could have been avoided by RBI if they could have understood how the exchanges work, and could have refined the KYC and AML policy even further. And they've also mentioned that the possibilities of migration of crypto exchanges to offshore locations could also cause some taxation and other kind of issues. Now from my perspective, it is actually I would say not all exchanges did move offshores, because all the major exchanges in India immediately moved on to the peer-to-peer mode from the normal functioning that they were doing earlier. None of them moved offshore. They immediately moved on and looked at alternate methods where people can still be provided with avenues to trade cryptocurrencies. That gave birth to the peer-to-peer mode. So this entire red thing that I've highlighted here is caused by RBI. They could have done the research better. They could have taken a different approach rather than banning bank accounts for cryptocurrency exchanges that made them to move to peer-to-peer mode. Now, although having said that, there is a date that's been set now, September 11th, where the Supreme Court is going to look into these regulations and the bank accounts for exchanges and other stuff. So we'd have to just wait and see how that works. So here are a few important positive highlights that I've also mentioned. So one of them saying that the cryptocurrency ecosystem might affect the existing payment and settlement system, which in turn could influence the transmission of monetary policy. So what does mean is that cryptocurrencies basically doesn't need any third party like banks or the wallets and stuff like that, like escrows or like PayPal and other stuff. So this actually removes all the middlemen, and hence there might be change in the monetary policy. So that is something positive that I definitely see from cryptocurrency. And they've also mentioned a few points that they might have seen from other countries, and this is good because I see that RBI is noticing other countries and how they are going ahead and regulating cryptocurrencies. For example, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission of US, and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission have been the primary regulators of cryptocurrencies in the United States. Now, we do all know that anything that happens in the United States being such an influential country, especially to India, so if India is looking up to them, then they are seeing that the SEC is working on the regulations on cryptocurrency. Although they have rejected around 9 Bitcoin ETFs till now, they have told that they will go ahead and review those the reasons that they have rejected the ETFs for. So that's something good. If there are positive sides that will come from SEC, and if they go ahead and approve the ETFs, that might have a positive impact on RBI as well, and they might follow their footsteps. They have also gone ahead and mentioned few points about Japan and South Korea, and in September 2017 Japan approved transactions by its exchanges in cryptocurrencies. That means cryptocurrency is a legal tender in Japan. They have regulated it. So maybe if RBI is in contact with some officials from Japan, and if they can look into the framework of how Japan has regulated cryptocurrencies in their country, that might be definitely a positive side that they can implement here in India. And moving on, this was a very nice point that I mentioned in the report. Because of the rapid change in the payments industry, and because of the cost that's been involved in creating this paper fiat money, a lot of governments, including RBI, are looking out into creating a central backed digital currency. Now, we have seen this in few other countries. For example, Venezuela went ahead and launched Petro. Iran are also looking out at a national cryptocurrency that they will be launching very soon. Now, although the goals of these countries might be different, RBI, I did read a report today saying 99% of the demonetized bank notes did come back into the banking system, and it costed around 7,500 crores roughly to print the new notes that are in circulation today. Now, if you look at that, I can totally understand what RBI is saying. If that is the amount of money that's being sent just to create that paper money, it's definitely a better idea to go ahead and go digital. Although we do have a few concerns about centrally backed digital currency, it's still susceptible to manipulation. It's still the same old system, monetary system. It's just gone digital, so it has its own drawbacks again. So if RBI understands the decentralized currencies better, I think they might have a different perspective on the digital currencies altogether. So those were a few of the important points. I think this video is taking too long. So quickly, I want to mention few of the positive that's not been mentioned in this particular report. Like for example, cryptocurrencies have a positives like a cheaper cross-border payments and a remittance. Now, I had read a report before saying India could save around $7 billion every year if they go ahead and switch on to cryptocurrencies as a mode of for the mode of remittance and cross-border payments. So that's actually a very huge amount that can be influencing the economy of India as well, although it does take some time for that to be implemented. The other positive that's not been mentioned is the transparency that usually cryptocurrencies blockchain do bring, the immutability, that it cannot be manipulated once any particular transaction is done, and the accountability. So these are the few positives that I don't see mentioned anywhere in the report at all. So those were the few things that I did notice in this particular report. If you guys have gone through the report, and if you want to go ahead and mention any point that I might have missed, I'd definitely love to read that if you leave them in the comment section below. And if you're someone who have not gone through this report, I'll leave the link for this particular report in the description area below or on my website. You can definitely check it out. So hope this video was helpful, although it was quite long. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if somebody new here, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell button so that you get notified whenever we post any new videos. So that's it in this video, guys, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.